You ever have one of those nights where the cold feels personal, like it's biting just you? That's where I first saw Mia, this kid, maybe 12, standing outside Harper's Quick Stop, clutching a beat-up shoebox full of candy bars, her sneakers so big they flopped with every step. Her eyes, Manthe weren't a kid's eyes. They were heavy, like she'd seen too much already, and down the street, you could hear the rumble of bikes, like fate rolling in slow. It was a February evening in Ashwood, Ohio, wind sharp enough to cut through your jacket, and Mia was out there, scarf unraveling, selling candy to keep the heat on for her little brother, Caleb. Their place wasn't much, just a rented shed behind old Mrs. Carver's house. One room with a leaky roof and a space heater that clicked like it was begging to quit. Caleb, he was 8, stuck in a second-hand hospital bed, skin pale as paper, some kind of lung thing the doctors said was manageable if you had cash. Spoiler, they didn't. Their mom split for Florida with some guy 3 years back, and their dad? Nobody mentioned him, like he was a ghost they'd agreed to forget. Mia was Itmum, Dad, everything for Caleb, counting pennies in a mason jar every morning, trading them for bulk candy at the dollar store, hoping to scrape together enough to get through another day. She'd slip Caleb a Twix when she got home, split it right down the middle, and they'd eat it slow, like it was a full meal, while the wind howled through the cracks in their walls. Across town at Rusty's Tavern, Jake Monroe was nursing a black coffee, not the usual bourbon. Jake was ex-Army, now running the Iron Hawks, a bike crew that fixed more cars than they smashed windows. His phone lit up with a text from Nate, the newest guy in the club. Boss, there's a kid at Harper's selling candy. Looks like life's been stomping her flat. Jake didn't reply right away. He'd seen plenty of hard luck cases. You don't save everyone, but something about Nate's words stuck, like a burr in his boot. What's the deal? Asked Sully, a grizzled rider cleaning a spark plug at the bar. Kid. Candy, freezing her tail off, Jake muttered. Sully's eyes flicked up. We've been that kid. Jake drained his coffee, stood. Saddle up. When the Iron Hawks rolled into Harper's lot, Mia froze, her breath puffing out in the cold like she was bracing for trouble. 8 bikes, headlights slicing through the dark, chrome glinting like knives. Jake swung off first, pulled off his gloves, and walked over slow, like he was trying not to spook her. You selling? He asked, voice low but not soft. Mia nodded, gripping her box tighter. $1 a bar. Jake glanced at the candy, then at her face, those 2 old eyes. How much for the whole thing? Mia blinked, did the math quick. $22. Jake didn't blink, just pulled out a 50 and handed it over. Her hands shook as she took it. I can't make change for this. Not asking you to, Jake said, and for a second, Mia just stared, like she was waiting for the catch. Why? She whispered, and Jake didn't have an answer, not yet. He stepped back, handed the candy to Sully, and crouched a bit to meet her eyes. What's your name, kid? Mia, she said, barely audible. You got folks around? She hesitated, then, my brother, Caleb. He's 8. Sick. Her voice cracked, just a sliver, but Jake caught a kind of crack that comes from carrying too much for too long. You walking home? He asked. She shrugged, ain't far. Sully stepped up. We can give you a lift. Her eyes flashed. No, Jake raised a hand, calm. All right, we'll tail you. Make sure you're good. She didn't agree, but she didn't bolt either, and sometimes that's enough. The bikes rolled slow behind her, engines purring low, headlights lighting up her 2 big sneakers as she trudged down a side street, past a dumpster and a burned-out shed, to a shack with a mailbox made from a soup can. This is it, she said, voice small. Jake parked, took in the place cinder block steps, tarp flapping on the roof, a wind chime made of bottle caps. Mia pushed the door open, called out, Caleb. A faint voice, bright despite everything, answered, You sell some? She smiled, first time Jake saw it. Yeah, we're good today. Inside, the place smelled like damp wood and cheap soap. Caleb was in a thrift store bed, comic books taped to the wall like a kid's version of Hope. He coughed, grinned at the sight of Jake. Who are they? Friends, Mia said. And Nate, holding a candy bar like it was a trophy, piped up, Heard someone here likes Twix. Caleb's grin got wider, missing a tooth, and Jake leaned over to Sully. They're living on grit and sugar. Sully nodded. We've lived on less. Back at the Hawks clubhousey, old garage with a busted neon sign, the crew sat in a circle, coffee mugs steaming, air heavy. Jake leaned forward. This ain't just about money. She's carrying the whole damn world. Nate, barely 20, looked down. Reminds me of my cousin, before the state took her. Sully scratched his beard. You know my story, 4 of us in a trailer, Mom burning cardboard to keep us warm. Jake looked around. We've all been broken. Can we do something real without turning it into a parade? Nate nodded. Fix their roof. Jake shook his head. We fixed their life. Quiet. No cameras. Like they're ours. Heads nodded, one by one. The Iron Hawks didn't do handouts, they did family. And Mia? She was patched in without knowing it. Next morning, Mia woke to a soft knock. Not a cop knock, not trouble. Nobody was there, but on the step was a jar of peanut butter, a pack of batteries, and an envelope. Thick, no name. Her hands shook as she opened it. $320s. Caleb sat up, eyes wide. Did you steal that? Mia laughed, shaky. No, it was just. Here. They stared at it, like it might vanish. Medicine, Caleb whispered. And socks, Mia added. And they laughed, loud and real, for the first time in months. Jake wasn't done. He swung by Vince's auto salvage, a junkyard older than dirt. Vince, need a favor, he called. Vince, wiping grease off his hands, squinted. You paying or begging? Bit of both. Jake showed him a photo. Mia and Caleb on their steps, candy wrappers scattered. Kids, no family. Need heat, a shot at something better. Vince lit a cigarette. What? You building them a mansion? A chance, Jake said. Vince puffed, nodded. Got insulation, a stove that works. Sovin's iffy. Take it. Jake's jaw tightened. When I was 9, someone left a bag of groceries at our door. Kept us alive. Never knew who. Vince smirked. Guess you're figuring out how that guy felt. The Hawks worked fast. While Nate took Mia to a thrift shop, tricking her into picking out a coat and books for Caleb, they tore into the shack. New tin roof, insulation, a real door lock, a stove that didn't wheeze. By dusk, the place was warm, the pantry stocked, Caleb's bed piled with clean blankets. Mia walked in, froze, the air hitting her like a hug. What? She whispered, turning to Nate. He shrugged. Just a guy with a truck. She spun slow, taking it in. Food on shelves, a toy truck for Caleb, a wind chime that actually sang. Why would someone? She started, then stopped, like maybe she didn't need the answer, just the feeling. Days later, Mia was back at Harper's, candy bag on her wrist. Jake pulled up, helmet off. Thought we got you set so you wouldn't need this. Mia shrugged. Caleb's meds ain't cheap. Jake studied her, stubborn as hell. Ever think about selling something you make? She frowned. Like what? Fudge, maybe. You got a stove now. Her eyes lit up, slow, like she was seeing the pieces click. Saturday, the Hawks showed up with sugar, cocoa, butter, and trays. Your new gig, Jake said. They taught her to melt chocolate, stir it smooth, cut it clean. Sully sketched a logo, a candy bar with hawk wings. Caleb giggled from his bed. You got chocolate on your face, mister. By night, Mia had her first batch of Hawks fudge, boxed and ready. Jake handed her a flyer, sweet enough to stop traffic. She didn't say thanks. She stood taller, and that was enough. At the Ashwood Farmers Market, Mia set up a table, scarf bright, boxes neat. At first, folks passed by, but then a lady tried a sample, eyes wide. This beats Walmart any day. Word spread, and by noon, Mia was sold out. Caleb, bundled beside her, counted the cash. We're millionaires. Mia laughed. Not quite, but we're okay. Across the street, the Hawks watched. No patches, just guys blending in. Jake sipped coffee. She's got fire. Sully nodded. She's got tomorrow. Winter hit hard, snow burying Ashwood. Mia's pantry was thinning, and the market was too far in the storm. Then she heard engines, low and steady. Headlights cut through the blizzard. Jake, Sully, Nate, hauling crates of groceries, firewood, blankets. You didn't have to, Mia said, wind whipping her hair. Jake shrugged, snow on his jacket. Yeah, we did. Your crew now. They stacked it all, no fuss, and rode off, chrome flashing through the white. By spring, Mia's fudge was in 3 markets and a local diner. Caleb's meds were covered, his cough quieter. One day, Mia saw a kid on the curb, sign reading work for food. She crouched, handed him a piece of fudge. Why? He asked. She smiled. Someone did it for me. That night, she told Caleb. Jake says pay it forward. Caleb nodded, serious, like a chain. Outside, Bikes rumbled past, Jake raising 2 fingers in a wave. Mia waved back, instinct. One summer night, the Hawks invited Mia and Caleb to the clubhouse walls covered in photos, a flag with their emblem. Jake handed Caleb a tiny helmet. Short ride, safe roads. Mia climbed behind Jake, Caleb with Sully, and they roared through back roads, fields glowing gold. At a hill overlooking Ashwood, Jake gave Mia a cloth banner with her Fudge logo. "Plant it wherever you go," he said. "Show him you made it." Mia clutched it, wind tugging, feeling rooted for the first time since her mom left, not because she was saved, but because she was trusted to stand. A year later, a bench showed up at the market, plaque reading, "For those who give without taking." Mia sat there every Saturday, bracelet worn smooth, touching the Hawk charm like a talisman. Caleb, stronger now, helped stack boxes. Some days, Jake stopped by, some days, he didn't. But the Hawks' rumble was always there, in the distance, or in the way folks started helping each other small, quiet, no strings. Here's the thing, Mia's story, it's not just hers. It's about what happens when someone sees you, really sees you, and decides you're worth more than a handout. Was it charity? Brotherhood? Or just people remembering who they used to be? What do you think? Can one act of kindness ripple out like that? Or is it just a drop in the bucket? Drop a comment, tell me your take, maybe share a time someone showed up for you. Hit that like button if this hit you. Subscribe if you want more stories that feel like truth, and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. Because kindness? It rides hard, and it's out there, waiting for you to pass it on.